Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in this video we are going to be continuing on with our HTML tutorial series. And in this tutorial we are going to be covering the progress element. Alongside the progress element, we are also going to look at the select element. And we are going to take a look at the text area element. Now, let's say you want to create a site for job applications. Well, in some job application websites, you will find that there is a progress indicator at the top of the page, or at the bottom of the page, or somewhere on the side of the page. Somewhere on the page, there's a progress indicator that will tell you how far into the application you are and how many steps you have left to go till you submit your application. That is a good use for the progress element. Another good use for the progress element is if you are uploading files. So if you're uploading files to, say, a web server or something, and your request is taking a lot longer to process than it might otherwise for other purposes, a good way to show the user that things are in fact happening is to have a progress indicator on screen. Right? So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the progress indicator. And my apologies if you guys are hearing like meowing in the background. My cat is pawing at my door trying to get my attention. But she's gonna have to wait for my attention because she just wants to cuddle, I guess. So, on the page, in your body, go ahead and type less than progress and close that tag. Now you'll see that we get some text. Well, we don't get any text inside in the tags or anything. We get an opening and closing tag, which might seem a little bit awkward, but let's not include any text there for now. Let's go ahead and save. Go back to our browser, and let's refresh. And so now we can see up here at the top of the page, let's kind of zoom in on it. You can see we have a progress indicator that is in its indeterminate state. It has this little teeny tiny section of the progress indicator that's going back and forth from one side to the other. And that means it's in an indeterminate state. So it's determining, say, how long the upload or download might take, or that kind of stuff. Now, what will happen then? What will happen if we put text in between the in between the progress tags? Well, let's see. Let's put loading in between those opening and closing tags. We can save it and then go back to our browser and reload. Make sure that I have that all squared away. And you can see nothing really happened. There's no text being displayed on the page or inside the indicator or anything like that. So anything between those tags, it really doesn't do anything. But if you focus on the progress indicator with your screen reader, if you use one, in the indeterminate state, it'll say busy. So it'll say busy indicator, right? So let's get rid of the text in between the progress element. Now, what if we want to have the progress indicator start out at a certain percentage of the way there, on the page. So for example, on a job application site, the first page, if there's 4 steps, might be at 25% to indicate, hey, you're at the first step of the application process. So you do this by giving it a value and a max attribute. Now, by default, though, you don't have to. By default, it should, I believe, be set to a maximum value of 1. So we can try this out by saying value equals 0.25. Let's try that. So we can save this and run our code. And in fact, I was correct. So by default, the maximum value is 1. So the value would be anywhere from 0 to 1. And 0.25 is, of course, is a quarter of that. So this is what a progress bar with a concrete of current value would look like. You can change the value dynamically with JavaScript, but we're not going to take a look at that because, well, it's just not something that we need to worry about. But if we focus on the progress bar with our screen reader, the screen reader will say progress bar 0.25 or whatever the case may be for the value. And the same thing goes if you set a maximum value yourself and you have it set to a specific value. It'll say, like for example, let's say you have a maximum value of 100 and you have the value set to 25. It would then say progress bar 25, so on and so forth. So that, my friends, is the progress bar. Next, we're going to take a look at the select. So the select element is essentially a drop-down. And the select element can have 2 kinds of children. It can have an option group and an option. The option group will have a bunch of options, but the option element is simply an option. Right? So let's say we have a storefront and we want to search the storefront for specific fruits and vegetables. Well, we can split those fruits and vegetables into different option groups within the drop-down menu to filter out. So we can have, say, potatoes in the vegetables, and say apples in fruits. And if you select apples, it should display all the different kinds of apples, like red delicious, green apple, Granny Smith, that kind of stuff. Potatoes, white potatoes, red potatoes, that kind of stuff. So, inside our body, we are going to, let's see if I can find my cursor and scroll the view a little bit further down here. There we go. We need to do a less than select, like that. And then for our different groups of options, we need less than opt group. And this needs a value property or attribute. So value equals okay, let's make sure that we have everything working like it should. Okay. Group equal value, or value equals, let's say, fruit. Okay, something seems wrong here. So let's try something like that. Okay. So in the body, we're going to do a less than select, like that. Then you can have the opt group with a value of, say, fruit. And then inside of this opt group or option group, we can have the different options. So let's say, we're gonna have one per group, and that's gonna be option apples. And then another opt group with a value of potatoes. Or rather, vegetables, I should say. Vegetables. And then inside the option group, have an option for potatoes, like that. Go ahead and save your code and reload. Now you can see that we have a combo box, which is our select box. And if I can find my cursor and we click on this box, you can see apparently the value attribute is not the way we give the option group a label. So what we can do then instead is we can go to the MDN web docs. So let's go to Google, MDN web docs, and we can find the opt group attributes. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and invert the colors of my screen again here. So this is the MDN web docs. I'm showing you this because well, oftentimes when you're developing sites, you're going to need to go to other sources like MDN web docs to look for attributes you might need for specific functionality, or how to access something in JavaScript or something like that. And the fact that we use the value attribute on the opt group and it didn't work shows that we need to look somewhere to find the right attribute. So we can go along here and try to find it. Okay, attributes. Here we are. So disabled. And so we want label. That's the attribute we need, label. So let's go back to Visual Studio Code. I'm going to invert the colors again. Okay, so here we are. Inside of our opt group, instead of value, we can say label. Okay, and then here we can also say label, like that. Let's go back to the browser and reload our page again. Okay, and so now we have our select box. We're gonna click on this, and now you can actually see the label for the option group. So we got fruits, and fruits cannot be selected because it's the title for the group. Same thing for vegetables. Vegetables can't be selected either, but potatoes can. So that is how we can use option groups with our select. Okay, let's get rid of this code. And now let's just use normal options with this. Right? So let's say you were let's say you wanted to have a payment page for a storefront, and instead of using radio buttons, you wanted to use a select drop-down list to excuse me. You wanted to use a drop-down list to show the different payment options instead. Well, that's where options would come in, and we can go ahead and generate multiple options in Visual Studio Code rather, by saying option asterisk, and then let's say we want to have Visa, MasterCard, American Express, PayPal, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. So that's 6 different options. So 6. So now, inside of our option, we can go ahead and begin putting our payment types. So Visa, okay, well, let's see. So Visa, and then I think, okay, so to begin, we need to give this option a value. We'll say Visa, and then inside the option have Visa, like that. And then again, for the next one, we're going to say MasterCard. And MasterCard, like that. And then in the next one is going to be Amex. American Express. Then we're going to have PayPal. So PayPal, like that. And then Apple Pay for that one. And then Google for Google Pay. Just like that. And so now we can go ahead and save. We can save this, and then we can go into our browser again and reload. So now, if we open up our select box, I just gotta find my cursor. We click it, and you got all the different options. So we got Visa, MasterCard, American Express, PayPal, Apple Pay, and Google Pay. You can also go and select the options with your arrow keys, as long as your select box is focused, and you don't have your focus on any other element. You just have it focused on here. Go up and down to select the different options. So you don't even need to open the combo box. You can by hitting enter, or by hitting space rather, if you really wanted to, and then hitting enter to select an option. But a quick way to do it is with the arrow keys. So that does it for the select element. Very useful element. All right. Okay. So now we're going to take a look at our final HTML element of the series, and that is going to be the text area element. So what exactly is the text area element? Well, the text area element is a optionally resizable sort of text input field. It's not necessarily like a text field per se, like the input type text, but the thing about text area is that it has multiple lines. So you can do, say, like a comment box or a notes field for a delivery service app or something like that. And I say optionally resizable because it can be resizable by default, but you can tell it that you can make it to where it's not resizable. You can make it a concrete size and just leave it there. So, how do we use the text area? Well, it's pretty simple, really. You just do text area, and that's it. You do less than text area, greater than, and that's it. If you want text to be in the text area by default, you can put that text in between the text area opening and closing tags, but most of the time you don't. So we are going to go ahead and save this now and reload. And so here's our text area. You can see down there in the very bottom right-hand corner, there is a resize indicator that you can use to resize the text area if you wanted to. But again, you can tell it to not resize, but we're just going to leave it as is. And so if we type in it, you can see we have we can have multiple lines here and all kinds of stuff. Pretty neat stuff. So again, what I do want to emphasize yet again is do not forget to label these things. Don't forget to label your text areas, your select boxes, your progress indicators, all that stuff. Because if you do not label them, it's not going to be a good user experience for people who use a screen reader or have other disabilities. It really does help everybody if you go in and have accessible stuff right out of the gate. So yeah, that pretty much does it, guys, for this series. Thank you all so very much for sticking with me. And thank you for watching this video. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.